Good evening, everybody. Could we take our seats so we can get started, please? Thank you. Welcome to the POA meeting. My name is Cliff Weiner. I'm president for the following year, 2022, probably 2023, and forever. First on the agenda is the pledge to the flag, and then we're going to remain standing for a moment of silence for our first responders and our military personnel that are serving every day. Thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Next on the agenda, I'll talk slow, is the minutes from our last meeting as our secretary, Reb Benson, comes up here. Thank you, Reb.
Hey, just a little slower. I almost got here in time. Good evening, everybody. Hey, I just, regarding the minutes, normally what we try and cover is just sort of the highlights of the last meeting, and so that's all I'm going to do with this point in time. So last meeting, since it was December 21st, it was also some new business we had to take care of, and that was the oath of the officers and directors. So Len Hathaway ran through that with us, and all of our existing officers and board of directors, which most everyone you see up here right now or in the back, were then given the oath of office. At the same time, we also had any inductions into the POA Hall of Fame, and Cliff may go over it a little bit more again, but Brian Livesay posthumously was brought into the Hall of Fame with the POA last month. His wife, Georgia, was here to receive his plaque. Then we had some announcements. One of the ones I wanted to bring key was Cliff mentioned that the nearly complete First Responders Recreation Center in District 4 is looking for first responder equipment. So if anybody has any of that from your previous work experience and whatnot, you need to get that to the district management by, I think, in about another week or so here in January. He also mentioned that in reference to the issue with a couple of Sumter County commissioners regarding sunshine laws. Wait for the rest of the story. Do not read what you get in the papers. There was a question about what's happening with the Spanish Springs Theater. The answer was not sure. Building permit expired last year. Not sure what the developer's plans are. Note that the developer submitted Spanish Springs apartment plans right after Lady Lake voted to rescind the 1987 agreement regarding how things were laid out over there in the Spanish Springs Town Center. What can we do regarding a neighbor not maintaining their yard? The answer is to call deed compliance. And then last month, by accident or whatever miscommunication, we were going to have Lenora Spence from the Consumer Advocates on fraud, but she wasn't able to make it after all. So the meeting was a short meeting last month. And that basically what we wanted to cover.
Thank you, Rep. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes? Second? All in favor? All opposed? Thank you. I just want to say one quick thing. He mentioned last month we put Brian Lipsky in the Hall of Fame. Brian sat at the back table for Seniors versus Crime for as many years as I can remember and been involved with the POA. He was also a District 2 supervisor who did many good things for this community. So he really deserved it. His passing was a tragic event as far as I was concerned. So we have another person that I feel deserves to be in our Hall of Fame. Next on the agenda, our treasurer's not here. She's under the weather. So Jerry, our Vice President, Jerry Felice, is going to do it for her.
He wants to know if I can handle it. Of course. I'm going to tell you that we had our best month of the year, maybe in a couple years. We actually had a profit. We made $29,142 as our net profit. It basically erased 11 months of losses. So for the entire year, we wound up with a profit of $7,324. It was quite remarkable since we've had so many months of being very, very negative. Very shortly, what contributed to it was we had about a third of our ad revenue for our newspaper. All of it came in December. So we got in $47,995 in ads, and that was the big catalyst that brought us over the top. I'll just give you one more number. So given that profit that we had for the month and for the year, it brought our operating cash to $155,950. Any questions? I've been rounding. I'm leaving out the pennies. Okay.
Thank you, Jerry. Yeah, most of our big advertisers in our bulletin come due November, December, and January. So we go through this every year, but this was really a pleasant surprise. So it made for a nice Christmas for most of us. Next is I started doing something 3 or 4 months ago, and that was introducing district supervisors that was here because I think it's important that you know who your representatives are. So Andrew Bilandaro is a supervisor in District 12. He's also going to be running for seat 2 on the Sumter County Board of Commissioners, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. Jerry Ferlisi, who just did the treasurer's report, is a supervisor in District 5. Andrew Curtis is a district supervisor in 6. I don't think I missed anybody, and I'm a supervisor. Oh, Sal Torme. I'm sorry, Sal, you got to stand up. Sal's a supervisor in District 8, and I happen to be a supervisor in District 4. Next, I want to tell you that, and it's been pretty good in the last week, because that's when our bulletin came out a little over a week ago. Our next shredding event is April 9th at the Wildwood Community Center. You need a ticket. You need to be a POA member with paid dues. At this point, we have 200 people that have gotten tickets, so we have about 800 more to go. I'm sure we'll go through them all like we do every year. This is, I believe, our fifth annual time we've done this. We usually shred about 45,000 pounds of paper and documents. This year I'm doing something a little bit different. Besides, because it's free for our members, they just have to be a paid member. I'm asking people if they would be kind enough to make a donation to SOS, Support Our Soldiers, who's run by a gentleman in the villages that takes care of vets that are living in the Ocala National Forest. It's hard for me to believe that in this time, we can have vets living in the Ocala National Forest. So he had a really tough year last year because of the pandemic, dried up a lot of his funds, and I'm just trying to help him. So you don't have to, but I'd appreciate it if you do. You'll hear more about it. I'll talk about it every month until we have our shredding event. I just want to tell you that if you can't make our meetings, you can watch them on our Facebook page. I believe this is the 7th month we are doing this. Last month we had 469. We are averaging about 500 hits every month. The one month that Chief Kane and Richard Bear, our district manager, were here talking about the Special Fire District last August, we had 1,760. That's pretty big. I know you're listening, Carrie. You'll hear from me again in March. Next, I want to talk about something we partnered with the Sumter County Sheriff. It's the Vial of Life. I'm not sure if you guys have one. How many people here have a Vial of Life in the refrigerator? You take this tube, you take this form, second page of it, you put your medical history. First page has got 2 green stickers. Put one on your front door, put one on your refrigerator, put the vial with the information in it on the top shelf. When you call 911 and they see the sticker on the door, they're going to go right to the refrigerator. It's really, really important. Used it myself twice with issues with my wife, and it really saved a lot of time. So it's really important. I'm going to talk about this until every household in the villages has one, because that's what I promised Lieutenant Seymour. So I got about 59,000 more to go, so please help me out so I can stop talking about it. I also want you guys to try to sign up for e-notification on the district website, districtgov.org. You'll get more information than you ever wanted. You can pick and choose what you want. It's really important information that you get. And when springtime comes and hurricane season comes, you're really going to be glad you have it with all the information you get. Carrie, how many of you have now signed up? About 5,000? Okay, so there's 60,000 households in the villages, and we only have 5,000. We got a lot more to go. It's free, and you get all the information you could want, so it's really a great thing. Sign up for it, please. Reb in the minutes said that they're taking memorabilia, or you got to fill out a request online. They don't want the memorabilia now. The deadline is January 28th, I believe. Is that correct, Gary? Okay. I believe it's January 28th. And then they will get back to you and let you know what they want. I believe the rec center, First Responders Rec Center, behind the Baptist Church on Route 42 in District 4 is about 70% done. They're looking at a opening date maybe around July 4th. So it's going to be something kind of special. Lots of outside things for those of you like me that live in District 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. We're going to have a putt and play, which we don't have. There's going to be a lot of things that we don't have north of 466 that we're going to have at First Responders. So it's really kind of exciting. At the back table, I got my friends from Seniors versus Crime, Realty Execs, Hospital Auxiliary, our deputy district manager. She just got promoted. Carrie Duck is in the back. And I want to say that we got a couple gentlemen sitting back there that are willing to accept donations for Gary Search, one of the Sumter County Commissioners, who is charged with a crime and found guilty before he went to trial. So in order to help him, they're sitting back there. They'll take donations, or you can go to their GoFundMe page. They do have a GoFundMe page. As I said last month, I'll say again, let's wait until the whole thing comes to fruition. There's another side to the story. You're only getting the one that the Daily Sun's putting in the paper, not necessarily what's true. With that being said, we're going to have our cash raffle. Oh, you're on the ball today, Jerry. I'm going to read the last four numbers. And if nobody claims it, the money goes to the president. 9842. Oh, for one of our friends from Realty Execs. 9871. Jerry up here, Donna. 9869. Jerry, back lady with her hand up in the back that can't say who it is because she got a mask on. Okay. If you belong to other groups or organizations that's ever looking for a speaker, you can always call the POA. I have a presentation we do. You get lots of good information. It'll all be truthful. And I think your members will find it interesting. We also do a AED presentation for anybody. I don't know. Oh, oops. Sal and I do a presentation. If you're interested in starting a neighbor AED program in your neighborhood, you can call either one of us and we'll set up the presentation. If you have a neighbor AED program and your volunteers want to be retrained, you can go to the Public Safety Department and get retrained. I believe they charge $25 for each person. Ready Alert, I believe, charges $10. They do the same thing. They're the people that notify the responders. Or you can call me and Sal and I'll come on. I'm a certified AED CPR instructor, and we'll do it for free. So you have three options. Right, Sal? Okay. Okay, this is the part where open forum, you can ask us any question you want. We'll try and answer it. If we don't have the answer, we'll get it for you. I don't have the answer to everything, but today we're fortunate I have Carrie in the back, so she could probably answer most of the stuff that I can't. Anybody got a question? Raise your hand. Scott. There's a couple people that are going to be running against Brett Hay. One of them's here. I saw him walk in. Stand up. Jerry, take the mic to Ash and let him. I'll give him his 3 minutes of fame. Give us your names. Well, no, wait till he gets the mic there. Thanks for the question, Scott. It's,
Hello. Oh. I'm running for District 33 State Representative against Brett Hay. And actually I want to thank POA because they inspired me to run because I was reading the impact fee news in the POA newsletter. And that really bugged me. And last year I researched a little bit more and I found Brett Hay got $350,000 paycheck and that was it. I said, there's no way he should continue. This is a giant conflict of interest and it should not be happening. I mean, we vote for him and he works against us. He works for the employer. He works for his employer, which is good. I mean, he's doing a good job for the employer, but he's not doing a good job for us. And I can go on, but I'll limit it to that there are other issues happening, like with Katie Bell, and the developer is too strong, and all the powerful people are on his payroll, and it is really affecting us. And now, the latest, if you haven't heard, the Turnpike extension is being considered from Wildwood to some unknown place, Wildwood to Chiefland, Wildwood to Crystal River, or Wildwood to two other random points in between, and they will take over farmland and houses and things like that to build the road. But anyway, now, I just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Ash. And Ash, just so you know, we will be having a candidates night later on in the year. So you'll get a chance to say all that again in front of hopefully a lot of people. And also, I believe that I'm not done, Sal. That one of my board members, District 6 Supervisor Andrew Curtis, is thinking about running for the same seat. Is that correct, Andrew? Okay, so there's two people to answer your question, Scott. Thank you for the question. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi. Is that close enough? Do I kiss it?
No.
Hello, my name's Don Lofton. First, I want to tell you that you're not a very good politician because I don't even know your name. Ash Marwar. That's close. All right. One other thing, I have a suggestion, and that is I joined via mail the POA about 9-10 months ago, something like that. I never received any information telling me that you had even received my mail. I don't know if I'm a member or not. I think it would be a good idea if, when you receive these by mail at least, that you confirm either by email or by some other method.
Well, first of all, in the application, it says if you'd like a card to send a self-addressed envelope, and then you know we got it because you get a card back. If you would like to volunteer, I will give you all the names of the people that do not send a self-addressed envelope, and you can send them an email. I have way too many things to do for me to do it myself. I'm always looking for volunteers. There's a chance for you to get involved and do it.
If that was on there, I never saw it.
It's on every single one of them, sir. And you can go back there and get a bulletin and look at the one that's in the bulletin. Any other questions?
Larry Weston, I was wondering, can you update us on what's going on with the villas in Hacienda South?
I have no new information. I've been told that, as Reb said when he read the minutes, the developer applied for, or turned in plans for apartments at Spanish Springs at Katie Bells. He turned them in, but that's as far as it went. He didn't go to the zoning board, so it hasn't moved any farther. And I was told that he's waiting to see what happens with that before he proceeds any farther. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what we're being told. Right now, it's just sitting there. So I'm waiting for anything, and as soon as we find something out, we'll let you know. We really will. I know lots of people are anxious to know what's going on. I hope that helps. I just don't have a better answer.
I was coming in when you were answering this question, but I'd like to know the status of the movie theater in Spanish Springs and why it's been allowed to lay undeveloped for so long.
I really can't answer that. It's a developer amenity that he owns. I will tell you that the building permit is expired. It's been expired for a year. There's no work going on. I really don't have an answer, and neither does anybody else on the Lady Lake Commission. Same thing. Well, I assume it's the same thing. I don't know. Maybe he's going to change and only have one movie theater. I mean, COVID really hurt the movies. There are no new movies coming out, or not a lot. I'm sure it wasn't profitable to have all three of them open, or two of them anyway. So Lake Sumter seems to be doing well with the movie theater, with just the one open. We'll just have to wait. He doesn't tell us anything until he wants us to know, unfortunately. Yeah, Gil.
Hi, Cliff. Got this on? To the members, we have a county commissioner that came out of retirement to fight for us against that 25% tax. And the villagers in the Morris family are doing everything they can to either intimidate or get these people off the board of the three commissioners. I am a very strong supporter of Gary Search. If you'll go on a GoFundMe, we need all the help we can because this could get very expensive. I don't think I know he has not done anything whatsoever. That's my personal opinion. And God made no better man than Gary Search. Thank you.
My question is along the same lines. Last month's POA Bulletin had a terrific front page editorial on what is being done to these two commissioners. They are essentially being framed, and it's outrageous. I'd just like to ask, is the POA going to be following up with additional support for these guys in future bulletins?
Yes.
Thank you. I would also like to put in a plug for Orrin Miller. He also has a GoFundMe page. So both he and Gary deserve our support. I would also like to encourage everyone who is interested in learning what is really going on here to go to villages-news.com and read what is being published there, because what is being published in the Daily Sun is essentially a pack of lies.
As I said before, guys, just wait until all the information comes out. You're only getting one part of the story. I personally know Gary and Orrin, but I know Gary very well. I don't believe a word I've read. I know better. So we'll wait and see. and that's exactly what we're doing. We're playing the waiting game just like he is. Hopefully it'll move pretty fast now, hopefully. Gary, would you like to say anything? Give Gary the mic.
Thanks, Cliff. First of all, about a year and a half ago, actually 2 years ago, when I talked to Cliff about, maybe it's best to stand here, running for office, it was not something I was looking to do. I had run for office up in Pennsylvania. I was a commissioner for 12 years, along with education for 36 years, and I've served various churches and so many ministries. I came down here to do what everybody else did. Play, have fun, retire. I got annoyed when I saw the commissioners treating the residents like they didn't count when I went to the budget hearings. I was encouraged to run. I ran supportive Cliff and the POA against, I had a nest egg of about $6,000 to $7,000 to get campaign materials. That I competed against my opponent, who had hundreds of thousands of dollars, and beat them 3-1, because the people spoke. And I was here to represent the people. But from the day I was elected, I had a hierarchy of the villages put his finger in my face and say, Search, just remember one thing. I'm a big person, you're a little person, I can squash you anytime I want. I said, is that a threat? He said, no, it's a promise. And I'm just telling you, you've heard about me having 2 perjury charges. I have never committed perjury in my life. I never committed perjury with the state attorney general. When my attorney looked at everything, he said, they're just saying you're lying by telling the truth. This is, 2 things are happening here. Intimidation and humiliation. They're trying to humiliate me in any way, shape, or form. But I'm going to tell you what, I serve a higher God, and I'm going to tell you what, God always wins. Amen to that, okay? With God before me, who's going to be against me? Well, I can tell you who's against me. The second thing is, it's also to take other candidates. And I love that Andy's still going to run, because it's to intimidate any other candidate from running against the local government that they controlled for so long. So I appreciate they're trying to financially bankrupt me, because a high-priced attorney to go after the villages, first you have to look high and far. Second of all, it comes with a high price tag. But my wife is supporting me. If we have to put our house up to pay the attorneys, we will, or the attorney. But to start out with, it's going to cost me about $40,000. I just appreciate the support, the moral support. I haven't run into hardly one person that hasn't said, we have your back. But during this time, I'm also very disappointed in our governor, because he made a financial move, but I think a very terrible political move. And hopefully when reinstated, these charges get dropped, because they are all false. I hope the governor and I have a long talk. That's my promise. But thank you to the POA, thank you, Cliff, and I just thank everyone in the community that has thrown their support my way, because the truth will come out eventually. It's unfortunate. I do not own a newspaper. I do not own a news station. I do not own a YouTube station, and every place else is being played out in the court of public opinion. But please wait for the truth, because it will show up. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. And guys, he was elected to help the residents of the villages, which is what he tried to do. I backed him, the POA backed him, I still back him, and I know that in my heart that these are all false allegations are going to get dropped, and he's going to go back to doing what he did. I want to just say he mentioned something. I had lots of people who were lined up to run in 2022 for the 2 seats that were open. Andrew's the only one that's still standing at this time, and some people that were going to run in 2024 for other offices that were going to be coming up. Slowly but surely, they're all dropping. They don't want to go through what Gary and Orrin are going through right now. That's a sad state of affairs that we live in a community that people are afraid to run because if you win, you're on the wrong side. Take a deep think about that, guys. That's really, really sad. And as I said, wait for the rest of the story on the Sumter County Commissioners. Next month, our speaker is going to be our new district manager, Kenny Blocker. In March, Cheryl Chestnut from the Villages Hospital. In April, Dr. Norman Anderson is going to be here. In May, Honor Flight. And in June, Len Hathaway is going to do our lightning presentation that he does for us every year. And then after that, in August, we'll probably start with candidate nights if there's any candidates running against the incumbent. So we have to wait and see who files. So with that being said, it's time for our speaker tonight. Our speaker is Dick Campbell, president of the Hospital Auxiliary Foundation. The POA is partnered with them, and we have named a room. We have a room on the 5th floor with our POA logo on it. Our money that we contributed is going to scholarships, so hopefully we'll be doing that again. We did 8 or 9 last year. Hopefully we're going to do the same amount this year. So without further ado, Mr. Campbell.
How do you do? This is a lively group. How many of you know about the foundation, have heard of the foundation? Put your hand up. Well, that's good. That's about 1.5%. So let me tell you something about us. We are new. If you know anything about foundations or organizations, we're neophytes. Our first board meeting was in March of 2013. We had 9 members on our board. All 9 members were appointed by, or elected, or requested to attend by me. I wrote the bylaws and the rules and said, this is how we'll function. So any criticism about the foundation, I'm the guy that screwed the whole thing up. Since that time, we have grown immeasurably. And we've done that because of people like you. Because you've supported us sometimes without even knowing you supported us. The foundation board is made up of people who work in the villages or live in the villages, and all the money stays in the villages. It goes nowhere else. It only goes to the village hospital. Some people ask, well, does that go to Leesburg? The answer is no. It stays here. Since April of 13, we have either have cash or pledges that equal $14 million in our bank accounts. And that has come from our partnership program. Cliff talked about the POA being part of that. We look at our foundation a little differently than other hospital foundations because the villages is unique. I mean, there's no other place in the world like this. We have our issues that we don't like, but we also have a lot of pluses or you wouldn't be here. It's not complicated. So our foundation is different. We give advice to other foundations, other organizations, because they say, how do you do what you do? And I go, well, we just go out and do. We do an awful lot of hand-holding of people when they're in trouble. We do an awful lot of hand-holding of people when they're in a hospital and they're having difficulty with their loved ones. Things aren't going well. We get involved to try to help them. We have a variety of programs. We have a room naming program. Cliff mentioned that the POA is now a sponsor of a room. Our rooms go from $15,000 to $1 million. We have over $16 million worth of rooms to sponsor. As of today, we have 8 million of that 16 million collected. And you're part of that group. So you can give yourself a round of applause and be proud of what you've done. Because when we talk about the foundation, we're talking about you. Cliff and I communicate back and forth on a variety of issues. We support every organization in the villages that contributes to the foundation. We speak all over the place. So if you belong to an organization and want to hear about the foundation, come and see us. We also sponsor 2 activities in the villages. Both are premier activities. Are any of you cyclists in here? You're a cyclist? Your husband is. Is he in the Lake Sumter Cycling Club? Did he cycle last October in the event? You should be ashamed of yourself. Off with his head. Whoever said that, off. Our goal is we partnered with the Lake Sumter Cycling Club about 4 years ago. And they're a great group of people, and they believe in educating in the community. They believe in exercise in the community. They're one of our partners. If you go through the hospital, you'll see their name on different areas, just like the POA's name. That group, because of their activity, have pledged $325,000 to the foundation. As of now, they've put in $200,000. And it's because of the cycling event. We help each other on it. The other activity we do that's an event for a fundraiser is a thing called the gala. We've got the premier black tie event in the villages. It happens every February, and this is our 16th year, and I'm sad to announce we just canceled it because of Mr. COVID. So Mr. COVID is going to push us back another year, but last year we had a virtual gala, which was the first, and that gala got an awful lot of attention, an awful lot of traction from our community. So this year, because we can't have it because of what's happening in the community with COVID, we're going to have a partial gala, which means all of our auction items are going to be online. And I'm going to ask Cliff to put information in his website and in his paper for you, and you'll see other information going out through the community. And if you want to bid on items, sign up and do it. All the proceeds go to the hospital. Our auction is also rather different compared to other areas. All of the items given to us are donated. A lot of foundations, I've learned, go out and buy items and then they try to auction them off. We don't do that. They're all donated to us. So, and they're donated 99% by local merchants and local restaurants. So if you want to help us with that, would appreciate it, would like to see it happen. What else does the foundation do? We run 3 businesses. And people say, well, how does the foundation run 3 businesses? We thought you just go out and knock on doors and ask people for money. We don't do that. We educate people, but we don't ask for money. If you've been to the hospital, and if you went for a cup of coffee in the cafe, that was us. If you have loved ones upstairs getting serviced by some physician, and you want to take flowers up to that person, and you go to the gift gallery, that's us. And if you're in need of something to wear, and you go to a thing called the EO Thrift Shop in Lady Lake, that's us. How many have been to the thrift shop in Lady Lake? Have you been there lately? Go now, because we just renovated the whole thing. And it is going to be a destination. You've been there, sir? Not since the renovation. Well, go there, and I think you're going to be pleased at what you see. In Lady Lake, do you know where the Chamber of Commerce is? The Historical Society? Farmers Market. On Tuesday, they've got a farmers market. They've got a caboose in the back of the Historical Society. It's about a mile past Home Depot going south on the right. The new building. Yes, we tore the old building down, and we're putting up a brand new building. We don't have it 100% done yet, but we're open for business. We're going to have a grand opening when we get all the permits and everything else signed. And when we do, I'm going to let Cliff know so he can announce it to you. And it's a fun thing. We have 98 volunteers work there during the week. And it's their home. So if you're bored, if you're tired of golf, if you're failing at bridge and you're embarrassed, you're allowed to come to us and we'll help you out and make you feel better about yourself. Now, at the back of this room, Cliff mentioned we had some people from the auxiliary. Jeannie Regal. Jeannie, stand up. Jeannie is the president of the auxiliary. The auxiliary, the the foundation takes care of the auxiliary. We're their financial arm. Under Jeannie's leadership, pre-COVID, we had 950 volunteers. COVID hit, we went to 4-something, and then to 550, and today we're now in the 600s. I believe by September, we'll be back into 900. We serve 40 different departments in the hospital. If you go to see someone in the hospital and you get in your car and then get on a golf cart, you can thank Jeannie, because she has those drivers to those golf carts. Jeannie, you can sit down, you're old. I don't want you to stand up too long. No. So the auxiliary is always looking for assistance. And if you want to volunteer 4 hours a day, once a week, we'd like to have you, whether it's in the hospital or at the thrift shop. In addition to that, the 40 different departments, that comes up because of needs from the hospital administration. That's where that comes from. So we're always getting input. How do you do this? How do you do that? So the auxiliary is a very, very big part of our foundation. At the same time, our foundation has, I heard Cliff talk about, you have a Hall of Fame. We have something similar to that in the community, and it's in the Brick Garden between the Sharon Morris building and the hospital. If you go out there in the afternoon, you'll see nurses, you'll see doctors sitting, reading, having lunch, or patients, and there's a brick walkway all around it. Well, we sold bricks in that area, but now clubs are coming to us, and they're saying, can we take one of those pallets, because we have some of our members that are deceased, and we want to buy a brick in their honor. So now we have 4 or 5 clubs that have started this 2 years ago, that they're reserving an area in there to honor their people. Pretty cool. If you have pets, we also have a pet area. And in the villages, it sounds a little wild. I mean, we got pets that are horses, snakes, alligators, dogs, cats, but they were someone's loved one, and they wanted to buy a brick for them, so it's in the Brick Garden. It's unique, but again, the villages is unique. So you have to understand that. Now, Cliff mentioned the scholarship program that you were big in, and that scholarship program is unique. And I have a young lady who works with us who takes care of that or helps in that maintenance of that scholarship program. But before I introduce her, I want to introduce someone else. Deidre, would you stand up? Deidre, that's her name, and it's an odd name. It's a funny name. I always call her Dee, but she makes me call her Deidre when I'm in front of people. Deidre works for us in the hospital, and she's what we call a patient navigator. So sometimes you don't have good communication with a doctor or nurse. Dee steps in to help get that ironed out. Sometimes you have a question about should we or shouldn't we do X, and family members not around. Dee kind of helps out with that. So you might want to get to know Dee, because I know she's here at least every other month when you have meetings. Okay, Dee, you can, and Dee's young, she's not old, so she could stand for a long time. But you can sit down, Dee. We also used to give tours in the hospital, but since COVID, the tours have stopped. But Dee's the young lady who does the tours. As things progress and things get better, I would hope that the POA would take their officers and their memberships and do some tours through the hospital, because you'll learn an awful lot what we do. At the same time, you're going to be hearing, and I've asked Cliff to do this for me, you're going to hear about a heart center we're going to start to open in the hospital. So many people from the village hospital go to Leesburg for stints. It's amazing how much traffic there is. So we're trying to bring a lot of that back home so you don't have to go that far. So we put a campaign together of a $17 million campaign, which we pledged to put $1.3 million up by May, which we'll do. And we put 4 videos together that have on the videos a cardiologist, a patient, and one of the hospital nurses to talk to you about various parts of this heart area. I'm asking Cliff to put those on his website that you could take a look at so you have a better understanding and a learning. And if you have questions about that, just call us and we can help inform you. Because in our little community, heart's the issue, cancer's the issue, breathing is an issue, and the orthopods, because all of us have 4 limbs that they love to take apart and play with. And everybody is seeing an orthopologist before things get out of hand. But that's covered in the villages. There's an awful lot of orthopods in the villages. But the heart issue, we want to stop the movement to Leesburg if we can and keep you here. So that's why that's going to happen. Now, I want to introduce you to Kathy Reardon, and she's going to talk a little bit about the the scholarship program that Cliff mentioned that you guys are supportive of or involved with. Kathy?
Thank you, Dick. I would like to thank all of the members of the POA for being one of our scholarship sponsors. You're one of 30 businesses, individuals, clubs, and organizations that support the program, so thank you all so much. The program was started in 2015, and that year we had 2 scholarships awarded. Today, we have increased the program, and we have awarded over $600,000 to 147 individuals. So it's been a lot of growth in a short amount of time. As Dick mentioned, our scholarships are unique. They're $2,000 a year for 4 years, provided the student keeps in good standing with their college or university and they make good grades. And we do check their grades. They have to send those to us every semester so we can check. A few years ago, we implemented a mentoring program. So we now have volunteer mentors that check on the students and make sure that they're doing okay and see if they need anything. Another thing that we started is in our quarterly newsletter, we now feature a student. So if you turn to page 9 on our newsletter that's on the back table, you will see a student and see their story. One of the things that we did last year at our virtual event that we're going to do this year is we're going to offer people an opportunity to contribute to the scholarship program. So if there's a button on there that says InstaBuy, that nobody knows what that means, but what that is, it's a place where you can go and make a donation that starts at $250 up to $2,000. So think about that when you go out and look at the auction site. One of the things with our scholarship program for the high school students, we only work with 3 schools. So it's South Sumter, Wildwood, and the Villages. And right now, we are going through the application process. So the deadline is March 15th, and we will have at that time a committee that will come together and review the applications and make their selections. I'd like to thank Cliff because he is a member of that scholarship committee, so thank you for that. The other piece to our scholarship program is we also, in 2016, we expanded it to offer scholarships to our hospital team members. And what these are a one-time up to $2,000 for a scholarship so that they can go back to school, get an advanced degree. Maybe they want to get a certification in some area. So anything they need, we're there to help. And like I said, these scholarships are all for the medical profession. So we have we haven't had it for 2 years, but typically we have a reception in May to honor the recipients of these scholarships. So they get to come with their family members to the hospital to the second floor, the reception area, and we just have refreshments and things. But it's we invite the sponsors of the scholarships to be there too, so it's a really nice way for the sponsors to connect with the students. So I think that's all I have. Dick, anything else? Okay.
I just want to say one thing. Last year on the scholarships, I believe there were 8 or 9, I don't remember, but I know that all but 1 came from South Sumter and one came from Wildwood. And they were really kids that really deserved it, that were really brilliant, that came from some really poor families. And it was an honor to be able to help these kids. As far as I'm concerned, I'm looking forward to it again this year. Thank you, guys.
On the scholarship program, another thing that was added last year, we had individuals who said, you know, my mother was a teacher all her life. My brother was a teacher. My son's a teacher. And now they're coming in and saying, can I give a scholarship in my wife's name or my daughter's name? And we're saying, sure. So every year it gets tweaked a little bit. And it gets tweaked because of people like Cliff and other people come in and serve on a committee, because we have a firm belief that A, we want the students to come back and stay here, A. B, we do not want to be giving money to people that can well afford college, and we don't want to be funding their students. And we're very blunt about it. Sometimes that gets us in trouble, but that's how we feel. I don't think you give money to a millionaire for his kid to go to school. It's not going to happen. So that's just how we function. But the last thing I'd like you to have is, there's an item like this on the back table, and this is basically our report card. And this tells you what we did last year. And if you want to talk about the foundation, talk from those talking points, and then we're all saying the same thing. If there are no other questions, thank you for your time, your effort, and good luck with your program. Oh, okay. Does anyone have any questions?
So with that being said, thank you, Dick. Appreciate you guys coming, and hopefully you guys learned something. Thank you guys for coming. We have donuts and coffee in the back. We'll see you next month. Thank you all.